Fire engulfs a tire depot near an airport in Chile. Authorities closed the road near the vicinity. More details on this later in the news. Good evening. I am Ricky Matay. This is Mata ng Agila International, and now for the headlines. Philippines and Australian forces begin joint military drills. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly to visit Philippines for diplomatic talks. European Union leaders to attend G7 summit in Japan. Tycoon Elon Musk faces subpoena over Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit. And Gilas Pilipinas brings back the gold against Cambodia in 32nd SEA Games. The Filipino and Australian military commenced their joint drills in Camp Kapinpin in Tanay Rizal, dubbed as the Exercise Kasanga 2023. The Australian Army is set to teach the Philippine Army 2nd Infantry Division the techniques of urban warfare, counter-terrorism, and close-quarter battle training. In June, a second batch of Australian troops is set to arrive in the country for the continuation of the joint drills. The Department of Foreign Affairs previously announced that Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong will visit the country between today, May 16, and May 19. This meeting is set to discuss the issues of mutual interest, including defense and security partnerships, trade and investment, and diplomatic ties. Ambassador of the Republic of Singapore to the Philippines, His Excellency Gerard Wei Hong, receives a farewell call from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in Malacanang Palace. The chief executive expresses his gratitude to Ambassador Ho for all of what the envoy has done for the country. The president notes the ambassador's contributions to the increase in trade and investment volumes from Singapore during his service. President Marcos grants the Order of Sikatuna with the rank of Datu Silver distinction to Ambassador Ho in recognition for his vital role in strengthening the diplomatic ties between the two countries. Among Ambassador Ho's contributions include his help and facilitation of many government-to-government collaboration agreements. The president lauds the envoy's efforts to provide humanitarian aid to the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ambassador Ho's initiative brought mutual appreciation between the two nations' people. Ambassador of the Republic of Singapore to the Philippines, His Excellency Gerard Wei, has received his farewell call from Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in Malacanang. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly is set to visit the country between May 18 and 19. Joly is scheduled to meet Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo in a bilateral meeting on May 19. The two officials are set to discuss trade and investment developments in the West Philippine Sea and cooperation in the energy, defense, and maritime sectors. This will be the fourth visit of a cabinet minister of Canada under the Marcos administration. Data shows that approximately 1 million Filipinos are living in Canada. Secretary Manalo believes that the foreign minister's visit will strengthen diplomatic ties between the two nations. In other news, the Marcos administration allocates a total of 138.77 billion pesos for higher education programs and initiatives in the country. Eden Santos for the report.
Budget and Management Secretary Amina Pangandaman says the Marcos administration earmarks more than 138 billion pesos for higher education under the 2023 General Appropriations Act to provide Filipino children with premium education. Pangandaman notes that this reflects the current administration's commitment to empower the youth in the country. According to the Department of Budget and Management, the more than 138 billion peso budget will be handled by state universities and colleges and the Commission on Higher Education or CHED. A part of the budget will be used to fund the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Program or UAQTE with 45.8 billion pesos. DBM adds that other educational programs are likewise allotted with necessary funding for 2023. This includes the Student Financial Assistance, Medical Scholarship, and Return Service Program. Eden Santos reporting for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Several senators pushed for the implementation of Senate Bill number 2002, known as the Across-the-Board Wage Increase Act of 2023. Senator Christopher Bongo, who co-authored the bill, says that it asks for 150 pesos daily wage increase bill of workers. The Senate Bill number 2002, known as the Across-the-Board Wage Increase Act of 2023, dictates that all employers in the private sector, regardless of capitalization, shall pay their workers an across-the-board wage increase in the sum of 150 pesos a day upon effectivity. The purpose of this bill is to help ordinary Filipinos to fight the impact of COVID-19 and high inflation. According to Senator Go, in order to reach an inclusive economic recovery of the country, Filipino workers must feel it first. Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri filed the said bill last March 14, asserting the government to balance the interest of the employers and workers. In other news, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, says nearly 96% SIM card owners have registered. The number translates to 95 million SIM card users. The National Telecommunications Commission, or NTC, says they are not expecting 100% registration of the 168 million SIM card owners. Countries that have implemented SIM registration have an average percentage of 70% registered subscribers. Under the SIM Card Registration Act, users have 180 days or until April 26, 2023 to register their SIMs or face deactivation. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. approved a 90-day extension of the SIM card registration period in response to calls for an extension, effectively moving the deadline to July 25, 2023. The Commission on Elections of COMELEC is the listing 0.5 million double registrants in its database of voters in the country. Madeline Villar Moratillo has the details.
According to the Commission on Elections spokesperson John Rex Laudianco, about 500,000 double registrants in the country are currently being delisted. Laudianco notes that the Constitutional Commission is in the process of delisting more than 400,000 double registrants. He hopes that all will be accomplished before the scheduled Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, or BSKE, on October 30, 2023. COMELEC started its delisting after a report in Barangay Carmona, Makati City, claimed about 7,700 fake voters registered ahead of BSKE. Laudianco says that the agency shut down claims regarding the fake voters. He explains the finalization of the list of new registrants involves detection and removal of multiple registrations. Last December 2022 to January 2023, voters registration, COMELEC recorded 1.5 to 1.6 million new registrants. Madeline Villar Moratillo reporting for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, boosts its personal's healthcare through Philippine Health Insurance Corporation's Consulta program. JD Mahinay for the details.
Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Acting Chairperson Don Artes notes that the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation's program aims to benefit the agency's employees to prevent or manage chronic diseases. This is after the two agencies signed a Memorandum of Understanding. Under the Consulta program or Konsultasyong Sulit at Tama of PhilHealth, beneficiaries will receive healthcare services such as consultations, health screenings, laboratory tests, and maintenance drugs and medicines. MMDA, with the agreement, shall monitor the execution of the Consulta program availed by its personnel and secure the accreditation of the agency's medical clinic. Artes lauds PhilHealth National Capital Region for providing MMDA's personnel a package that promotes their access to primary care services. In line with the provision of Republic Act 11223 or the Universal Healthcare Act, PhilHealth's Consulta program is a primary care benefit package. JD Mahinay reporting for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
The uptick of COVID-19 cases in the country has prompted Baguio City to reimpose the mandatory wearing of face masks. Baguio Mayor Benjamin Magalong says face masks must be worn indoors and in crowded places. He states the policy also applies to non-Baguio residents who visit their city. The mayor also expects a hike of COVID-19 infections in the next 3 to 4 weeks before the cases plateau. Meanwhile, here in Manila, Mayor Honey Lacuna says people should wear face masks inside the City Hall.
Simula sa araw na ito ay mahigpit po natin ipatutupad ang pagsuot ng face mask sa loob ng inyong mga tanggapan at sa lahat po ng dadayo sa Manila City Hall.
The Department of Health says that they will not recommend to bring back the mandatory face mask policy.
Hindi po namin nakikita sa ngayon, sa sitwasyon natin ngayon na ang kagawaran ng kalusugan ay magre-rekomenda sa ating presidente or through IATF ng mas mataas or mas iaayos na naman or ipapatupad na naman ang mga restriction katulad po ng mandato sa mask. Naniniwala na po ang kagawaran ng kalusugan, pati na rin ang mga miyembro ng IATF na ang ating pong mga local governments, ang ating pong mga establishmento, pati na rin po ang ating mga eskwelahan, at iba pa pong mga places of work, for school, or communities, capacitated na po tayo. Alam na po natin kung kailan risky for us, alam po natin kung kailan safe for us.
The Health Department believes there is no reason for the public to be alarmed despite the increasing positivity rate. Health experts insist the country's occupancy rate of hospitals and COVID beds remain low. Coming up, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau visits South Korea for security talks. Belarus is on high alert as Ukraine gears to attack Russia. And pro-government supporters in Pakistan protest against top judge. Stay tuned for more stories from around the globe when we return.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok.
Susunod sa Counterpoint, nakakasama natin ang power couple ng Eternitas Chapels. Ano ba itong death care services. At bakit mahalaga na paghandaan ito? How in the world can this country be friends to all and enemies to none when we are hostage? We are bound by the Mutual Defense Treaty. Ngayong Miyerkules, alas 10:30 ng gabi dito sa Net 25. Abangan.
Netizens, ako po si Diana Menezes from Tara Game. Agad-agad, level up! And for more live and updates, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Net25 TV.
Let's get together to Net25.
Welcome back to Mata ng Agila International. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau arrived in Seoul for his first official visit. He will have a joint press conference with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol tomorrow. The two leaders are expected to sign an agreement on intelligence sharing, key minerals and energy cooperation. Both nations previously released their Indo-Pacific strategies. Experts say Canada and South Korea's roadmap for military and economic relationships aim to counterbalance China's influence. The frequent meetings of officials between the two countries reflect their commitment in building a stronger relationship. Trudeau will remain in South Korea until Thursday before he heads to the G7 summit in Japan. President Emmanuel Macron and Tesla CEO Elon Musk met in Paris for investment projects. They met at the Élysée Palace before going to Versailles for the Choose France conference. Macron said he and Musk discussed significant progress in the electric vehicle and energy sectors. They also talked about digital regulation and Twitter's content moderation. Macron refused to give additional details as to what transpired between him and Musk. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire said negotiations are still ongoing. He explained the investments made today by Macron are the fruits of months or even years of negotiations. In other news, French President Emmanuel Macron said Russia is becoming subservient to China. Macron's statement did not sit well with Russian authorities. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov hit back against Macron, declaring Russia's relationship with China is strategic. The spokesperson insists ties between Moscow and Beijing have nothing to do with independence. He also believes the West and its allies are fearful of a stronger Moscow-Beijing partnership. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Grushko asserts Macron is concerned with Kremlin's strong ties with China. He says Macron is implying change in the world order. United States newspapers published that the head of Russia's mercenary Wagner Group offered to reveal several key military positions in exchange for Ukraine's withdrawal around Bakhmut. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin supposedly made the offer via secret communication channels with Ukrainian intelligence. The alleged documents do not clarify which Russian positions Prigozhin would have given up. But two Ukrainian officials said that the offer had been extended to them more than once. Kyiv reportedly rejected the offer because it does not trust the Wagner Group's boss. Prigozhin is known to have a long-running feud with Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov. Kremlin denied the legitimacy of said reports.
У нас нехватка боеприпасов 70%! Шойгу! Герасимов! Где боеприпасы? Посмотрите на них, Вот это вот парни ЧВК «Вагнер». которые погибли сегодня. Еще кровь свежая. С 10 мая 23 года мы выходим из населенного пункта Бахмут.
Russia says Ukraine was quick to use United Kingdom's long-range weapons. Lugansk residents believe Kyiv used these weapons to attack their homes. RT's Roman Kosarev breaks down the latest development.
What is the goal of the collective West shipments of long-range weapons, including multiple launch rocket systems and cruise missiles to Ukraine? Well, statements from NATO officials assure they're sent to protect Ukraine from Russian aggression. For many in the West, it seems like a noble cause, garnering public approval without questioning the weapons' capabilities or how they will be used.
On limitations, obviously we will not in public talk about if there are any limitations. The key here is to give Ukraine that capability to defend itself.
And together we must help Ukraine to shield its cities from Russian bombs and Iranian drones. And that's why the United Kingdom will be the first country to provide Ukraine with longer range weapons.
Now let's take a look at the latest so-called defensive gift from the UK to Ukraine. Storm Shadow is an air-launched long-range cruise missile for attacks against high-value targets. The UK announced the delivery on May 11th, and Kyiv promptly used the weapon against civilian targets in Russia's Lugansk Republic.
Combat aircraft from Ukraine's Air Force carried out a missile strike on the Polypak Polymers plant and the Milam meat processing facility in Lugansk. The strike was carried out using Storm Shadow missiles supplied to the Kiev regime by Great Britain, contrary to London's claims that these weapons would not be used against civilian objects.
8 civilians, including 6 children, were injured in these strikes. A fire broke out in a local food and chemical factory with multiple residential buildings destroyed or damaged. Considering the $2.2 million cost of each Storm Shadow missile, this attack was pointless from a military point of view.
For nearly a week, the whereabouts of Belarus's authoritarian leader, Alexander Lukashenko, have been a mystery. The last confirmed sighting of the president was alongside President Vladimir Putin during Russia's Victory Day parade at Moscow's Red Square. Lukashenko skipped a celebratory breakfast in the Kremlin to fly home. Later that day, he appeared at a similar event in his capital of Minsk, but then missed out another scheduled appearance for days. These events have led various publications around Belarus to speculate on the current condition of their leader. On Monday, the state news agency Belta reported Lukashenko inspected an Air Force installation. A photo posted on the presidential website showed him standing in military jacket, taking a salute from an officer, while another showed him sitting at a command post desk. Lukashenko is the only foreign leader to regularly meet with Putin since the conflict began in February 2022, meeting a total of 14 times. Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko declares their forces are on high alert. He says the situation is not critical right now, but factors are alarming. Lukashenko did not provide more details. Local reports say Belarus's high alert will last for 3 days. The announcement was made after 4 aircrafts were shut out of the sky in southern Russia. Sources say Ukraine is preparing its counteroffensive attack against Russian forces. Kremlin believes Kyiv is on the move as it has received fresh weapons from the United Kingdom.
Ну вот, 3 суток после событий рядом с нами, я имею в виду Брянской области, когда были сбиты 4 воздушных суда, мы вынуждены были на это реагировать. С тех пор мы находимся в более повышенной готовности.
The heads of state of the world's 7 most advanced democratic economies will meet next week at this year's Group of 7 summit. What can we expect? Randy Bernardino has the details.
The heads of state of the world's 7 most advanced democratic economies will meet next week at this year's Group of 7 summit. The G7 was an informal bloc summit formed in response to the economic woes stemming from the 1973 oil crisis. The group started out in 1975 as the Group of 6, or G6, by the leaders of France, West Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The 7th nation, Canada, joined the following year. Russia joined in 1998, and the group was temporarily renamed the G8 until the country was suspended after it annexed Crimea in 2014. The first summit agenda will surely be the ways in which they could resolve the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, who chairs the G7 for 2023, vowed to lead a united front in dealing with the Ukraine issue. Kishida has repeatedly stressed that, even though the war was in Europe, there is no distinction between Europe or Asia when it comes to rules for peace. Kishida, the leader of the only Asian member state in the G7, also sees the summit as an opportunity to respond to steadily increasing geopolitical tensions in the Pacific, including North Korea's expansion of its nuclear arsenal and China's encroachment toward Taiwan. The G7 summit will be held in Hiroshima, Japan from May 19 to 21. Randy Bernardino for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
More than 20,000 demonstrators rallied outside Pakistan's Supreme Court protesting against the release of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Anna Kui tells us more.
Last week, authorities arrested Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan on corruption charges. Since then, the country's top judge granted him bail. Government supporters say the judge showed undue favors to Khan. They want the judge to resign. Pakistan's ruling alliance has passed a resolution against the judge, charging him with misconduct. Part of this release agreement, Khan has been granted protection against further arrest until later this month. He has been holding rallies around the country since being ousted from office more than a year ago. Khan is demanding early elections. Anna Kui for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
A month after the Sudan conflict broke out, the country's capital remains a ghost town where people are afraid to venture out of their homes. Jane Kathleen Gregorio reports.
What you see here is a hospital that has been destroyed in the fighting between the army and the paramilitary. People living in the capital city of Khartoum have endured weeks of food shortages, power blackouts, communication outages, and runaway inflation. What's left of the city of 5 million is a former shell of itself. Foreign embassies have shut down. Hospitals, banks, and shops have been ransacked by looters. At the airport, charred aircraft lie on the tarmac. As the week began, Monday was no different. Loud explosions could be heard across Khartoum. Thick smoke filled the sky and warplanes flew overhead, drawing anti-aircraft fire. Jane Kathleen Gregorio for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on
figure in 5 years.
throwback.
Tingnan mo, pwede ka naman palang mabait eh, hindi masungit. Tsaka na lang pag magaling ka na. Are you staying for dinner?
Oh, she was just on her way out.
Ah, ganun ba? Well, goodbye then. Bakit ka tumatawa nung nakakatuwa?
Wala, ikaw. Gusto ka na mami ko.
Magtira ka kahit na isang patak para sa magiging asawa mo.
Do you like me?
Siguro.
Ngayong linggo, 12:00 ng tanghali. Dito lang sa Net 25.
In Latin America, hunger continues to persist. The latest data indicates that 9.7 million people in 13 Latin American countries are already extremely food insecure. But let's take a look at how the ongoing humanitarian efforts of the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation in partnership with the Iglesia ni Cristo helped alleviate food insecurity while providing something even greater. Here's my report. Panama, situated in Central America and with its capital in Panama City, is home to approximately 4 million people. The country is renowned for its bustling urban centers, natural splendor, and iconic Panama Canal. Despite these impressive features, a significant portion of the country's residents, primarily those in rural areas, face a pressing issue: food insecurity. Rubiela is part of one of these impacted rural communities known as Cuna Nega. She explains why people here are facing a crisis.
Hace ya tiene como 3, 4 años en pandemia, nosotros estamos en crisis. La gente mayoría ya no tienen trabajo en esa comunidad de Cuna Nega, la isla.
And for residents like Rosalinda, having a single meal is considered a stroke of luck.
Gracias a Dios estamos bien para trabajar. A veces no tenemos que comer mi mamá.
What initially appeared to be a stroke of luck proved to be a timely intervention that brought smiles to the faces of Cuna Nega's residents during a time of crisis, providing aid to those who need it. Timely aid presented through care packages as an ongoing humanitarian effort of the Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, in partnership with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, was held here in Cuna Nega. From groceries, basic food items, and clothing provided to all residents. This gesture provides a means of improving the residents' quality of living here in Cuna Nega.
Cuna Nega is a resettlement area for the indigenous group called Gunayala, and it is a place by the dump site here in Panama called Cerro Patacon. So these people are looking for a better opportunity in life, and the main source of their income, most of them, are through scavenging. And seeing those people, it will really break your heart.
Gracias por haber tenido esos mensajes. Han ayudado muchísimo a mi familia y a todo el pueblo de aquí. Yo mucho a traer las donaciones acá. Y me ayudó muchísimo a que hayan traído esas cosas a nosotros, a mi familia, a mi hogar. Gracias.
Residents like Rosalinda are thankful for the aid in lessening food insecurity, and even greater, the spiritual care provided through God's words in an evangelical mission led by the supervising minister in the ecclesiastical district of Latin America, Brother Jonathan Hamias. As a doctrinal instructee, the preaching Rubiela hears continues to impact her deeply.
Ahora me siento muy feliz con ustedes porque yo escuché la palabra de Dios de allá. Así que yo escuché la palabra de Dios hasta mis hermanas que yo nunca he visto delante de un hermano que predique. Yo nunca he escuchado con sus lágrimas. Ellos le dieron duro.
This event is just but part of the series of Care for Humanity events conducted by the Iglesia Ni Cristo throughout the ecclesiastical district of Latin America. In countries like Mexico, food insecurity and proper access and quantity to food affect 10% of a population of over 130 million. In venues like Naucalpan, Lomas del Rosario in Cautitlan, Itzcali, and the outlying area of Ejido El Indiviso in Mexicali, Baja California, bringing hope through material and spiritual means.
Pues es muy bien porque aquí casi no vienen ayudas en este ejido. Es muy poco lo que da el gobierno o lo que dan los del DIP, que son los que a veces dan.
Los paquetes eran muy grandes para nosotros, que la verdad ha venido a subsanar ese vacío de tanta necesidad. Dios ha enviado de repente esta organización cristiana para alimentar de repente tanto espiritual como físicamente, digamos, mediante el alimento, que tanto es lo primero que es la necesidad más grande.
These humanitarian efforts of the Iglesia Ni Cristo will continue to lessen the hardships experienced by residents throughout Latin America and provide a better life and a greater hope of bringing more people closer to God. Ricky Matay for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point. In Guatemala, protests erupted outside the Palace of Justice over the closure of an investigative newspaper. El Periódico announced that it is shutting down its operations for good. Pearl Rogacion has the details.
El Periódico published hard-hitting stories on government corruption. Its publisher, Jose Ruben Zamora, is on trial for money laundering. Charges, he says, have been trumped up to silence the independent media outlet. Media observers are calling the case politically motivated. The paper quit publishing a print edition last November but has remained as an online outlet. It was published for the last time on Monday. Protesters accuse the government of killing the paper, saying politicians' actions are a threat to national media. As well as the publisher, 9 other journalists and columnists from the paper are being investigated. Pearl Rogacion for Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
The United States Virgin Islands has subpoenaed billionaire Elon Musk for documents over its JP Morgan Chase and Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit. The subpoena seeks documents reflecting communications or meetings between Musk and JP Morgan Chase or Musk and Epstein. It also seeks from Musk any documents about Epstein's involvement in human trafficking. The court papers also accused JP Morgan Chase of knowingly benefiting from Epstein's sex trafficking. It also said prosecutors had reason to believe Epstein may have referred or attempted to refer Musk to JP Morgan Chase as a client. Musk's lawyer, Alexa Spiro, did not respond to questions, but the Tesla CEO addressed the issue via Twitter. Musk posted an article about the subpoena and called it absurd. Argentina's central bank has hiked its key interest rate by 6 points in a bid to tame inflation within the country. The rate now stands at a whopping 97%, a 30-year high. Arlene Ocampo tells us more.
Soaring inflation has made it difficult for Argentinians to put food on the table and pay for other essentials. Last month, inflation hit 109%. The country's currency is also losing value, dropping 20% against the US dollar in a single week last month. The government is preparing to put other measures into place in an attempt to bring price increases down ahead of this fall's general election. Those steps could include intervention in the exchange rate, subsidies for vulnerable sectors, and facilitating imports to bring down prices. Arlene Ocampo from Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Amnesty International death penalty expert Chiara San Giorgio reports a 53% increase on the previous 12 months in the global number of executions. She is describing this as a very concerning picture. Joanne Soriano reports.
An Amnesty International report published on Tuesday reveals that recorded executions worldwide reached 883 in 2022. This is the highest level since 2017. The report decries the Middle East and North Africa in particular. The Global Rights Monitor says the 2022 figure for 20 countries known to have executed people is a 53% increase on the previous 12 months. It says this excludes the thousands of prisoners put to death secretly in China. The report, however, counts a staggering 81 people executed in a single day in Saudi Arabia. China leads the way in the grisly ranking, ahead of Iran with 576 executions, Saudi Arabia with 196, its highest number in 30 years, Egypt with 24, and the United States with 18. Amnesty says in the annual report that the death penalty is also used extensively in North Korea and Vietnam. But as with China, Amnesty says figures there remain shrouded in secrecy. Amnesty International's death penalty expert Chiara San Giorgio says the report highlights a very concerning picture, the highest in 5 years, mostly due to increases in two countries, Iran and Saudi Arabia. She says the death penalty is used as a weapon of state repression.
In the few countries where the death penalty is used, we are seeing that there is a continued effort to use the death penalty as a tool in the hands of the states rather than as a punishment. Some claim that the death penalty deters crime. That's not what we are seeing. It's very much something to punish minorities, to punish the opponents, and as part of the weaponry of the state repression.
Joanne Soriano for Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
26 lives were claimed when a trailer truck and a minibus collided on a highway in northeastern Mexico. Kimi Oria reports.
Fire broke out after the two vehicles collided in northeastern Mexico, leaving the wreckage charred beyond recognition. Authorities say the death toll could go higher as they continue to sift through the accident debris. Local media is reporting that those in the van who died may have been members of the same family. It's believed they rented the vehicle for the trip. Officials have not confirmed that. Kimi Oria for Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
In Chile, a tire depot went ablaze near Santiago Airport. Firefighters are struggling to extinguish the fire. Authorities closed the road near the vicinity. Police are still investigating the cause of the fire. Coming right up, Vice Media files for bankruptcy. Battery made of sand stores green power. And Gilas, Pilipinas reclaims gold against Cambodia in 32nd Southeast Asian Games. Catch the latest in business, sports, and entertainment when Matanang Agila International returns.
estado ng ating mga manggagawa sa ibang bansa.
Pagpunta ko naman dito, hindi naman ako agad nakapagtrabaho. So, siguro mga isang taong ganon nga.
Tapos po, yun po yung sobrang miss nila yung family nila. Yun, doon po pumapasok yung mental sickness po. Kung madadagdagan pa po sa work area nila, doon nagkakapatong-patong.
Nakakayaman pa ba ang magtrabaho abroad?
Bago pa lamang kayo magplano maging OFW, magpaplano na rin kayo kung kailan kayo uuwi. Pagdating sa Pilipinas, wala na mapapasukan na trabaho, hindi makakapagsimula ng negosyo.
Pangarap pa rin po ng mga Pinoy ang maging OFW? Mag-reality check tayo.
Ngayong linggo sa Cine Throwback.
Tingnan mo, pwede ka naman palang mabait hindi masungit. Tsaka na lang pag magaling ka na. Are you staying for dinner?
Oh, she was just on her way out.
Ah, ganun ba? Well, goodbye then. Bakit ka tumatawa? Ano nakakatuwa?
Wala, ikaw. Gusto ka na mami ko.
Magtira ka kahit na isang patak para sa magiging asawa mo.
Do you like me?
Siguro.
Ngayong linggo, alas 12 ng tanghali. Dito lang sa Net 25.
Welcome back to Mata ng Agila International. Weather continues to hamper efforts to contain wildfires raging across the western Canadian province of Alberta. A combination of high temperatures, changing winds, and no rain have elevated the risk of more blazes being sparked. Thomas Likeness reports.
The biggest fear firefighters have now is that the wind could change direction, pushing the fires to different areas. Adding to the problem is the lack of moisture. The province has had virtually no rain, and that has left the ground and forests tinder dry. Another problem? Dry lightning. That could spark even more fires. Temperatures will remain above normal for the remainder of the week. There are 87 active fires spread out over a large area of the province. 25 of them are burning out of control. That means firefighters have to spread out resources and battle the flames on several different fronts. Other provinces have sent personnel to join in the fight, and about 300 members of the military are also helping out, with more soldiers expected in the coming days. On Monday, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau visited the province. He met with military officials who briefed him on the situation. The Prime Minister also stopped in at an evacuation center. While there, he told evacuees the government would give them the support they need. More than 19,000 people have been forced out of their homes, some for more than a week, and they cling to the hope that not only will they be able to return soon, but when they do, their homes will still be standing. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
South Korean prosecutors raided cryptocurrency exchanges Upbeat and BitThumb over Solon Kim Nam-Cook's digital assets. Seoul Southern District prosecutors seized the transaction records of Representative Kim over allegations that the lawmaker was engaged in cryptocurrency trading. The trading occurred while he was attending the meeting of the Judiciary Committee of the National Assembly in May and November 2022. Authorities explained that the raid's purpose was to gather evidence and investigate any possible wrongdoing related to Representative Kim's digital assets. According to the prosecutors, the investigation highlights the scrutiny surrounding the cryptocurrency in South Korea. Authorities assert strict compliance in maintaining the integrity of the market. Vice Media Group has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection to facilitate its sale. In its Chapter 11 petition with the court, the New York-based company said it had an estimated asset amounting to $500 million to $1 billion. It also estimated it had more than 5,000 creditors. Vice said that it had agreed to the terms of an asset purchase agreement with its lenders Fortress Investment Group, Soros Fund Management, and Monroe Capital. Vice Group said all its media brands would continue to produce content despite the bankruptcy filing. Vice was founded in 1994 as a Canadian magazine and grew into an online media group with news websites and television operations. It cultivated a rebellious image, and its success captured the attention of the media world as it connected with younger audiences. The United States is studying how artificial intelligence can affect the loneliness crisis brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to tech journalist Ryan Heath, 3 in 4 Americans say they experience loneliness, while Gallup's survey estimates around 44 million individuals are experiencing significant loneliness. Experts say that AI could further isolate people from physical relationships and conversations. However, some AI programs provide loneliness relief. This includes virtual therapists, AI conversations, AI pets, and AI companions. American Psychiatric Association reports that more than 10,000 applications claim to provide mental health services. However, a select few of them are certified by the country's government. The world's first commercial sand battery has been installed in Finland, which could pave the way for a green energy revolution. Stephanie Mayo tells us more.
A team of researchers and engineers from Finland developed and installed the first commercial sand battery in the world. Using low-grade sand, the device, an insulated gray silo housing piles of builder's sand, is charged with heat from solar or wind power. This presents a cost-effective way of storing power. Called the Polar Night Energy, this thermal or sand battery runs the heating system in the district of Vatajonkoski, helping warm homes, offices, and even swimming pools. With rising prices of fuel and energy, this renewable energy could very well pave the way for a green energy revolution. Stephanie Mayo for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
YouTuber KSI scored a controversial knockout victory against Joe Fournier. KSI's initials performance was nothing short of dominant, landing bigger punches with great rhythm in the opening round of the fight. Fournier was on the canvas within the opening minute, but no knockdown was scored as it was a result of a throw by KSI when they clinched. The 40-year-old complained about punches to the back of the head, which caused a break in the action. The second round was quite hairy. KSI tagged the former boxer with a huge overhand right, which was then followed up by an attempted right hook. The overhand landed flush, but the follow-up was wildly contested, as several angles show the YouTuber landing with his elbow instead. In a post-fight interview, KSI denied that he had stopped his fellow Brit with his elbow before calling out the Gypsy King Tyson Fury's half-brother Tommy Fury. In the 32nd SEA Games, the Philippines has captured 56 gold medals as Gilas Pilipinas wins against Cambodia. Gilas Pilipinas has regained its lost glory in men's 5-on-5 basketball as they defeated Cambodia 80-69. Gilas dealt the host nation and relegated them to the silver medal. Justin Brownlee starred anew for the Philippines with 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Chris Newsom added 16 points and Marshall Lassiter had 10 points. They have dethroned Indonesia after the last year's reign. With the Gilas' win, it was the country's 56th gold medal. The Philippines now sits in the 5th place of the 32nd Southeast Asian Games. The 2023 Cannes is poised to launch a blockbuster 76th edition stacked with celebrated filmmakers and Hollywood star power. The world's glitziest showcase for the movies is oozing confidence once again after COVID forced a no-show in 2020. This year's lineup features more female directors and a sizable contingent of African entries. The return of Hollywood's silverbacks, Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones and Martin Scorsese will provide the Cannes premiere. Blackpink's Jennie Kim, who is making her acting debut in The Weeknd, and Sam Levinson's upcoming series, The Idol, will undoubtedly have all eyes on her when attending the show's premiere. Pedro Almodovar, Natalie Portman, and Michael Douglas are among the stars expected to appear on the boulevard. Kicking off the festival is French-language film Jean de Barry, which casts Johnny Depp as King Louis XV, his first major role since a highly publicized trial against his ex-wife. The Cannes 2023 will be on May 16 to 27, where the Palme d'Or is the highest prize to be awarded. Korean actor Kim Son-ho stars in the movie The Child. He plays a Filipino-Korean boxer who travels to South Korea to search for his father. His movie will be released this year on June 2 in South Korea. Filipino fans will see it on the big screen on July 5. Kim Son-ho rose to fame for his roles in drama shows Start Up and Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. And to help you get through the midweek, here's a quote from John Steinbeck, an American writer and the recipient of the 1962 Nobel Prize in Literature. There are as many worlds as there are kinds of days, and as an opal changes its colors and its fire to match the nature of a day, so do I. And that's a wrap for tonight's news. Catch the latest updates on our social media channels. I am Ricky Mathay. This is Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.